Hello everyone, today I thought I'd try some paper mache. I've seen all the wonderful things everybody's been creating on YouTube using paper mache. Thought I'd give it a try. It's the first time I've messed with paper mache since about 1980 when I was in the 7th grade. So I'd seen somewhere where you can, people suggested maybe covering your skull, if you're going to make a paper mache skull, with saran wrap or cling wrap. So I thought I'd try that. I happen to have some Halloween themed Reynolds cling wrap. So I put that over my Limburg skull. Took my heat gun. Tried to get the cling wrap to conform real well to the shape of the skull and the eye sockets and everything. And really, that didn't work too well. So I don't suggest you do it. So, back to the drawing board. I'd seen other people say that you could use some aluminum foil. So I thought I'd give that a try. So I took my aluminum foil, covered my Limburg skull with it. I took, I think 2 or 3 sheets. Made sure that the eye sockets were indented. Made sure the aluminum foil was conformed to the skull real well, so that it would actually look like a skull once I cut the paper mache off. So then I started making the glue. I did the 3-to-1 mixture using the Elmer's school glue gallon that I got at Lowe's. I've seen people say, well, you can use 50-50 or 3-to-1, or lots of people I see just eyeball it, but I can't do that. I have to measure everything out. So I took one of these little plastic cups filled with water, poured it in first, then poured in 3 cupfuls of glue. Got my latex gloves on so that I could get my hands in there, get everything all mixed together. So I got it all mixed up. I've been collecting newspaper for months, literally months. I've been doing the analysis paralysis about this paper mache thing for months. Finally, I just decided I just got to do it. So I had a whole box of paper mache strips I'd already done, or newspaper strips. So I just started laying it on there, laying it on the skull, dipping the newspaper strips in the glue mix, putting it on the skull, making sure it's nice and flat, overlapping a little bit, trying to make sure all the aluminum foil is covered up. Made sure I got into the eye sockets real well, so that they were, indented a little bit, so they would actually look like eye sockets. So I covered the whole skull, put the lid back on my Rubbermaid bucket there. I got it Big Lots, I think, and I let that layer dry overnight. So, next day, time for the second layer, but of course, there were places I just didn't like the way it looked, so I had to trim it up. So around the jawline, teeth and the base of the back of the skull, I took my scissors out and trimmed up paper mache where maybe I had gone a little bit overboard and it didn't really look good. Also, that first layer I thought was a little runny, a little bit too watery, so I decided I'll add a little bit more glue. So I did that. I don't know how much. I just eyeballed it, which is so out of character for me. I'm usually one to do precise measurements. So, I figured, well, what the heck, that's enough. So, mixed it all up. Got my newspaper strips out. I'd also figured out that, I think I need some smaller strips, so I tore a lot of the strips I already had in half. And I did see where I had missed some spots. I could see the aluminum foil, so I covered those places up first, spots where I'd missed the previous night. And then started laying the paper mache on for the second layer, and I think I tried to go the opposite direction on that second layer of the first layer. So once I got the second layer on there, put the lid back on and repeated everything a third time. So this is after 3 layers of paper mache from letting it dry. And to my joy, I guess, it looked like a skull. So now it's time to take the paper mache off. So I took my razor knife, cut a line down the back of the skull, from the base of the skull to the top. It's actually kind of hard. I didn't think this 3 layers of paper mache would be that tough to get through, but it is. And then I cut a line down each side of the skull as well. And began taking the paper mache off of the skull. It really was quite hard to cut for just 3 layers of paper. And I guess aluminum foil too, a layer of aluminum foil. So I started peeling it away. Taking the pieces of aluminum foil off. So, got the skull out. Got my hand in there and peeled away all the extra aluminum foil that was stuck inside there. So all I would have would be a paper mache skull. I think next time I might just try. I'd seen Spooky Blue's website said that he had tried just doing some WD-40. Wiping some WD-40 on the skull. And I think I might try that next time. So there we go. We got our skull. I was actually quite happy with how it turned out. So then I took my Gorilla tape. I guess you could use just duct tape as well. And began taping the skull back together where I made the cuts to get the Limburg skull pulled out of there. So I taped up all 3 cuts that I made down each side and the back of the skull. So now I'm going to do another layer of a few strips of paper mache over the cuts that I made to get the skull out. So they're not just held together with the duct tape, so they'll be a little stronger. So I took my small strips of newspaper, run them over all my cuts, and then let that dry overnight again. So the next day I let it dry overnight. Next day I need to fill the skull with something, so I thought I'd try the great stuff. So I sprayed it in there. Okay, that's enough. Alright, it's enough. Dude. Yeah, I think that's enough. I'd seen on a Spooky Blues tutorial, we was talking about filling it with foam. He said, don't even use great stuff. And I kind of have to agree with him. So after the great stuff, after I overfilled it with great stuff, I'd seen Brad Goodspeed talk about using acetone so that you can reuse great stuff over and over and over. I can't believe I didn't know about that before. It never occurred to me. So I took some acetone, put it in a shot glass. That's a good way to ruin a perfectly good shot glass. I don't know what I was thinking. Took the can of great stuff, dipped it into the shot glass with the acetone, and it ate the great stuff all away, so that you could reuse it again. And then I did the same to the little tube they give you with the great stuff. And that actually worked quite well. Just kind of worked it around, getting the acetone all down, so we'll go all the way through the tube till all the great stuff was eaten away inside of there. So the next day I come back, check on it, and of course, I've overfilled it. So I got great stuff sticking way out. It's breaking the seams from where I cut it. So I have to do something about that. So I decided, well, I think I can salvage this, so I cut all the, started cutting the foam out. Getting rid of all the excess that I didn't need. And in the future, when I do this, I think I'll still use the great stuff. It's just a matter of knowing when to say when. So I think next time I'll maybe try to fill it maybe about halfway. And of course the stuff in the center hadn't cured yet, it was still wet once I cut it away. So I got all that stuff out. thought I'd try filling it back up a little bit, but maybe not overdoing it. I let it set overnight to let the great stuff that hadn't cured cure. And I also went back over the seams with another layer of paper mache, because the great stuff had caused the seams to split. So I put a little bit more great stuff in it, just enough to halfway fill what I had taken out. Let that sit overnight, and that worked pretty well. I'm happy with that, how that turned out. So now I've got a skull, paper mache skull, that I can use for another prop. And here it is next to the Lindbergh that I originally started with. Thanks for watching.